Welcome to channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about Migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now, I've been receiving a lot of comments and inquiries, and also some of the dissatisfactory comment in regards to the government of Australia, obviously due to the pandemic, and a lot of people have thought now the country has changed and things, and there's a commonly asked question: is the migration plan and policy moving towards regional Australia? Should you still aiming at regional, especially a Northern Territory and Tasmania? This is a quite interesting topic and very frequent asked questions on the web if you want to search on, because the policy seems to be switching to these areas 2 or 3 years ago. However, a virus had hit the earth, and we have lived with the virus for the last 2 years. How will this impact, and should you choose Northern Territory and or perhaps Tasmania in 2022? Let's check it out. Right, so first of all, I would like to get you into the Tasmanian's migration webpage. Now, a lot of viewers and fans have followed my channel for long enough will understand my view towards Tasmania, which does provide a very good plan for migration. Don't get me wrong, but the problem that I always have and also urge, if you do want to go to Tasmania, is checking this out. Now, this is the most updated news. If you want to go to the there's also a latest webinar provided by the government of Tasmania, and you can listen to that and watch that as well. But the thing is here, look at the quota for 2021 and 22 combined for the state skill nomination is only 3,300 places. That's including subclass 491 2,200 and subclass 190 1,100. Now, looking at this is very minimal, very minimal. If you really wanted to consider, it's easily a year of international student scrambling to all university in Tasmania and the TAFE and whatever the colleges that you want to go in. It's definitely going to be more than 3,300. And considering occupation wise, you got to think about this: how many people picked the same occupation within that 3,300 people? Now, obviously, if you want to go there to be a top engineer, petroleum engineer, mining engineer, top scholar, no problem for you, of course. But if you only want to go there to study a very generic IT, accounting, finance, business, commercial cookery course, mechanics, perhaps, probably will be very hard for you to actually get into these 3,300 places. Now, you probably can, but you need to have extensive work experiences, jobs, probably require very high English proficiency at the superior level, which is equivalent to IELTS 8 across 4 bands, in order for you to actually meet that requirement. Now, that's the problem there. I have no problem with the innovative approach by the Tasmania's migration nomination policy, which we have gone through. You might want to check my previous video discussing in a detailed explanation of how Tasmanian government will actually pick skilled migrants, which is very good because they open up for basically all type of occupation. But the problem is this, because numbers still counts. The placements and the places offer by the state of Tasmania is very, very limited, and that's the problem. That's why when people ask about Tasmania, I always recommend perhaps go to Western Australia, South Australia, or perhaps go to Gold Coast in Queensland. Now that's the issue for those regional places. Now let's jump into Northern Territory. So anyway, I'm not saying it's no good, but you really need to consider this, because if your goal is to go to a regional state in order to migrate through a skill pathway by studying courses, now you gotta pick the courses right. You don't want to pick a very generic course, and you don't want to just achieve a very average score, because for those kind of people, that's probably a dream that will never actually come true, because the quota and placement is actually very, very limited. So that's what I'm trying to say. But if you're there, if you want to go to Tasmania and be a scholar and you have very good score, academic performance, then probably that's a place to be. But if you are an average kind of guy, I would suggest to go somewhere that the employment numbers and requirements high, and also placement is high, such as Adelaide, South Australia, and Queensland, because you got more opportunity there than compared to, and that's pretty obvious compared to Tasmania. Now let's jump into Northern Territory. Now there hasn't really been much of changes. As you may notice, I've done so many videos on skill migration for every different states, but Northern Territory, because they haven't really changed anything. Strangely, 2 or 3 years ago, they were promoting Northern Territory, highly promoting Northern Territory, going to Darwin, going to University of Charles Darwin, and they even set up a branch in Sydney to actually attract more people to go in regional Northern Territory. I think it's the resource issues. Due to the pandemic, all the resource has been extracted to the major cities around the coast, and Northern Territory has actually been left out. Now, noticing that we also processing applications for students and also migrants all around the nation in Australia, I personally noticed that Northern Territory's processing time is very lack and very slow. By means, the resources there is very, very low. I mean, human resources, no one actually, or very limited, probably only 1 or 2 people taking care of whatever the thing was there, and once they receive hundreds of applications, they can't even handle it. Okay, so let's check it out, the eligibility. Let's just go a little bit of rewind and see how to go. So eligibility for skill work regional 491 and skill nominate 190. Minimum requirements, so age had to be under 45. I'm pretty sure you gotta have a skill assessment. Now I cannot stress much enough. I'm still receiving comments and people asking whether they can actually migrate and their chances, opportunities. And my next question back to them is, have you done your skill assessment? And they always came back and said, nah, no. I think you need to take this seriously. If you're serious enough for about Australia, migrate to Australia, you need to get skill assessment done. Now English, you need to have at least IELTS 6. So this is all the minimal requirement set out in the standard set out by the Department of Home Affairs, and you need to have at least 65. So this is all the same. I'm not too sure why they do this, because it's redundant. It's the same as the Department of Home Affairs website. Why bother do this? Sometimes these designing company or website company just want to make the whole user friendly, or the web page look better, but this is all wasted. I mean, what's the difference? This is all the same as what the Home Affairs requires. Now, the one that's different is down here. So if you're living in Australia, there's additional requirements, so they still need additional requirement. I'm not too sure. Let's jump in there and see what those additional requirement is. Please note the following general information. If you're migrating dependent currently living interstate, you will not be eligible. So they want the whole family to be in Northern Territory. There's no options. There's no they just have to be very strict. If you are any migrant dependent currently on a student visa and have not completed study in Northern Territory institutions, you will not be eligible. Wow, they want not just you going there, they want your kids, everyone study in Northern Territory. So would you actually pick Northern Territory? Or perhaps you would pick some other requirements such as what Western Australia and South Australia has offered for interstate migrants. If you've already been nominated for 491 visa by Northern Territory, you will not be eligible for 190. Oh, that's the same as. Let's jump in there and check out the additional requirement. Eligible for Northern Territory graduates, so you need to study there. Other Northern Territory resident, you need to live there for 6 months, and for after July 1st, 2020. So this is very dated. That's last year. 12 months living there. Wow. Okay. I don't think there will be anyone actually living there since pandemic, unless there's something else there. So anyway, it's not really. See, the reason I'm getting everybody to have a look is some of these states they haven't really put things into their brain to actually see how they can attract people. Now, offshore, if you're applying outside Australia, I'm sorry, Northern Territory is currently closed. The thing I wanted to show you guys about some of the courses and offers, or a lot of agents out there are promoting these ones, but the reason that we are not promoting it, because look at this, it's still dated. They don't want offshore commitment. Obviously, that's the same. Every state will not want them to commit it to work and stay in their state. Occupation, you need to be at the occupation list. Employability, you need to be employed, get an offer, and you need to show the money. Okay, so again, the reason I'm showing all this is that it's been almost 2 years since the pandemic started last year, March. There's obviously Tasmania has offered something, but the general policy of Tasmania's skill migration has not really changed. It's only a little bit of twitch, and also they introduced the Tasmania skill occupation list. However, the Tasmania's policy is great because they generally accept any kind of occupation. But the problem is the placements. The quota they have is very low. Same thing in Northern Territory. Although Northern Territory doesn't declare how much and how many quota they have annually, but I assume will be low as well because the economy size is low as well. And over the last year or more, Northern Territory hasn't really updated anything. Their updated information is still back July 1st last year, and they do not accept offshore, and they want you to commit so much, and you need to take all your family over there, work, study there. Now if you're a family and you got kids, obviously you consider your kids to have a better education. Does Northern Territory and Darwin offer those kind of quality of education for the kids in compare towards all the other states? I think that's the key. Now have a think about it. What is your thoughts? Would you still prefer to go Northern Territory and Tasmania in 2022? Let me know in your comments, and I see you next video. Goodbye.